Live from WRAL News Headquarters in Raleigh, your number one source for local news. WRAL News, coverage you can count on.
And we take a look at what's happening around town today. Temperatures are hotter. We're in the low 90s. It'll feel stickier than it did yesterday. But we're looking at some extreme heat for tomorrow. I'll show you how close we'll be to records.
And the 2024 presidential race is off and running. 8 GOP candidates are vying for the position after their first debate. Former President Trump skipped the debate, but has plenty to say ahead of his expected surrender at a Georgia jail today.
New results from a report on lead in Durham parks shows that 5 parks have lead levels that test dangerously high. Just ahead, how the city is preventing future exposure.
And breaking news in Raleigh, a fire tears through this budget inn, forcing several people out of their rooms in the middle of the night. Why firefighters say it almost spread to the entire building.
We're following breaking news and all the news that you need to know to start your Thursday. Thanks for waking up with us. I'm Renee Chu.
And I'm Jeff Hogan. Thanks for making us part of your Thursday here. It's been kind of a normal week weather-wise, except for the heat, but it hasn't really ramped up to be something so disturbing as what we're going to see in the next week of time. Elizabeth Gardner, the WRAL Severe Weather Center. We start with that risk tomorrow.
Yeah, we're going to get fairly busy tomorrow. We're looking at the potential for record heat and the chance of some severe storms tomorrow, especially from the Triangle area northward. Let's start with today, because today may not be completely dry either. We're going to see the potential for a disturbance to drop in from Virginia in our northeastern counties. So from Goldsboro to Rocky Mount all the way up to Roanoke Rapids. It may come as far south as Goldsboro, but mostly what we'll see is up to the northeast of the Triangle area this afternoon. Futurecast shows some of that this morning, but as we get into our daytime heating is when we'd have a better chance of seeing that. Now tomorrow, we're going to see plenty of sunshine all the way up until around 5 o'clock, and another disturbance drops in on us, and this is what is sparking that level 1 risk for severe storms. But it's going to be late in the day from, say, 8 to 10 p.m., dropping into the Triangle area through Goldsboro and Rocky Mount, and then into our southeastern counties closer to midnight. It's a quiet start this morning, and we're still holding on to that low dew point we saw yesterday. It still feels pretty pleasant, 63. Our temperature is 69, but the humidity will come pushing back in today. We'll see highs hotter than yesterday in the low 90s, and it will feel more like mid-90s. Yesterday was just delightful. More of that to come sometime next week. Tropical Storm Franklin, we just got the new information in. It's moving north at 13 miles per hour. This is the brand new forecast track. It still keeps it off the coast of North Carolina, but as a Category 2 storm as we get into Monday and Tuesday next week. Even late this weekend, we'll likely see high rip current danger and some heavy surf along our coast. There's also the potential for another system to develop in the Gulf of Mexico that could affect the coast of North Carolina next week. I'll show you what the possibilities are there. Coming up, Brian.
6:02 right now, and we are watching some pretty big delays in Garner. This appears to be construction related on 40 eastbound, heading through the Business 70 interchange down to the White Oak Road Bridge area. Once you get to the Clayton bypass, it clears up, and it looks like this is going to add quite a bit to your ride, leaving Garner heading down toward the Cleveland community. About a 14-minute delay showing up right now. Unfortunately, not too many great alternate routes. You could take Highway 50 down to 42 through South Garner, but you're going to get stopped at intersections along the way, so it's probably best just to stay with 40 eastbound. That construction should start to clear up here over the next few minutes. I'll have another update in about 10 minutes to let you know how it's looking. Looking good right now live in Durham at I-85 at Duke Street. No trouble in either direction.
Breaking news we're following this morning. Several people are out of their rooms after fire broke out at the Budget Inn in Raleigh. This happened around 1 a.m. Brett Neese was on the scene in the WRAL Breaking News tracker. Brett, a couple reasons this could have been a lot worse.
Yeah, Jeff, it could have, because it got to the attic here at this building, and once that happens, fire can spread really quickly. But crews credit that fast response to limit that damage from happening. I want to get you right to the video from the WRAL Breaking News tracker to show you what this damage looked like around 1 a.m. The fire really centering around the back couple of rooms here on this side of the building. It all broke out there, and that's a lot of damage to that room and the rooms beside it. But firefighters are working to learn whether or not anybody was in that room where that fire started. At this point, they're not entirely sure. Fortunately, nobody was hurt. We're going to find out whether or not investigators know what exactly started this fire and whether or not any of these rooms had smoke detectors. As soon as I get an update, I'll pass that along. In Raleigh, Brett Neese, WRAL News.
Newly released data is giving us a better idea of the lead contamination in Durham parks as concern grows among parents about children's safety. WRAL's Kelsey Coffey joins us live in Durham this morning to explain what these test results show and where the city goes from here. Kelsey, good morning.
Renee, good morning. We're at Walltown Park. This is one of two parks that had 8 samples to measure more than the EPA threshold. So that means that lead levels here are elevated and could be unsafe. East Durham Park tested with the same results. East End, Lyon, and Northgate parks each had 1 sample that measured above the EPA threshold. The playground at Northgate Park was closed last week due to high lead levels and remains closed today. And now that we have this information, the State Department of Environmental Quality is reviewing it, and access will be restricted in some areas like what we're seeing right now. At Walltown Park, it says that no one is allowed to be in this creek right now. And then the city is strategizing ways to prevent people from being exposed in the future. Kelsey Coffey, WRAL News, live in Durham.
Former President Donald Trump is expected to surrender today at the Fulton County Jail in Atlanta, where you're looking live right now. He is facing 13 felony counts stemming from the district attorney's probe into the 2020 election. So here's what we know about his arrest process. The Fulton County Sheriff has made it clear that everyone indicted in this case will be booked and processed like any other inmate at the jail. That means we are expecting a mugshot of Trump at some time today. After being arrested, Trump will pay a $200,000 bond before he's released. The former president denies any wrongdoing. He doubled down on his stance last night during a pre-recorded interview with Tucker Carlson.
I got indicted 4 times. All trivia, nonsense.
Trump now faces 91 charges across 4 separate indictments. He says the cases are politically motivated.
And Renee, right as that interview with Tucker Carlson aired, the other 8 candidates for the GOP presidential nomination were on the debate stage last night. Ken Smith joins us now with a look at some of the hot topics that were discussed, Ken.
You know, Jeff, one candidate getting a lot of buzz on social media this morning is Vivek Ramaswamy. The 38-year-old businessman was a target of a lot of the attacks from his fellow Republicans. Political observers also say former President Mike Pence and Florida Governor Ron DeSantis both had good nights. As for the 2-hour debate, though, the Republican rivals unified in slamming President Biden's economic agenda, but turned on each other in several fiery moments on a range of topics, including the economy and abortion rights.
We cannot let states like California, New York, and Illinois have abortions on demand.
Well, I'm a pro-life governor of a very pro-life state, but I am on the record and I stand behind that we should not have a federal abortion ban.
We cannot succeed as a country if you are working hard and you can't afford groceries, a car, or a new home.
Now is not the time for on-the-job training.
Break out of the past.
Well, candidates including former New Jersey Governor Chris Christie and former Arkansas Governor Asa Hutchinson blasted the former president over his legal troubles. Trump says he will not take part in any of the GOP debates. The next one is scheduled for September 27th in California.
And happening right now in the WRAL Live Center, we are following some breaking news out of California this morning. 3 people are dead and several others are hurt after a shooting at a biker bar in Orange County, California. This happened around 7 o'clock last night. You can see the response here. NBC-LA is reporting the gunman was a former law enforcement officer who targeted his wife. They were allegedly going through a divorce. But police do say it's too early to tell whether that shooting stemmed from a domestic dispute. In addition to those killed, 6 people were also taken to hospitals. 2 are in critical condition. Deputies did kill the gunman, and no deputies were injured in this shooting.
Michelle, thanks. As kids go back to school, you need to be more aware on the roads. New this morning, data from Raleigh Police shows speeding in school zones is an increasing problem. WRAL's Destiny Patterson joins us live from Raleigh this morning. And Destiny, this data serves as a good reminder for all of us to slow down and pay attention.
That's right. You know, over the summer, we often disregard these signs, but RPD has new data that shows that it is a growing number. Police cited 222 people for speeding in a school zone last school year. That's up about 50% from the 21-22 school year. AAA also surveyed about 400 North Carolina drivers. About 47% of them admitted to speeding in a school zone, and almost 1/3 said they use their cell phone while driving through a school zone. Now, another piece of this to really consider is making sure that you're watching out for buses, especially during those really busy pickup and drop-off times. And a lot of those surveyed drivers also said they weren't sure when they were allowed to pass those buses. We'll have a breakdown of those rules coming up. Destiny Patterson, WRAL News in Raleigh.
Today we'll get a better idea of the amount of crime Durham police have responded to so far this year. The police chief will present a crime report to the city council today. Take a look at some of the key takeaways that we have so far. The number of homicides is the same as it has been the past 2 years. Rapes are up 31% from the same time last year. Shooting incidents are up 20%, but the number of people shot is down. Property crime numbers are up in every category, with a large increase in motor vehicle thefts, up 153%. Although violent crime is down overall, city leaders say there is still a lot of work to be done.
Well, the numbers don't lie. Violent crime as a whole is going down. However, if you're the victim of gun violence, if you had a family member that's been injured or killed, that's not really compelling to you. So I don't tout that or take a victory lap for that, particularly when folk are still going to sleep at night hearing gunfire outside of their homes.
The city council will also hear the results of a police satisfaction survey and discuss top priorities for police.
Today, the state's first elections that require voter ID are happening. What state leaders will be watching for as they prepare for the bigger elections ahead.
And you may notice driverless cars cruising around Raleigh, a new service being tested that could shuttle you through the city in the future.
And big changes beginning today. Yesterday was so much cooler and less humid. Today, a little more humid. A small chance of thunderstorms in our eastern counties. And then tomorrow, we see triple digits. We could be near record highs. We have a level 1 risk for severe storms. I'll show you how to be prepared for your Friday coming up.
As you get into your car, tune to WRAL News Plus on your radio. In Raleigh on 99.3 FM. In Durham, 96.5 FM. And everywhere on 101.5 HD3.
6:14. Look at this beautiful sunrise in progress here in Goldsboro and all across the viewing area. A little bit of a haze in our skies today. When Brian and I walked in this morning, we noticed it smelled a little bit like smoke, but our air quality is green, and so it's good right now. There may be a local fire somewhere in the area. Our temperature is feeling great this morning still. 63 in Lewisburg, 62 Tarboro, 64 in Irwin, and 65 degrees in Goldsboro. We're sitting at 70 in the Triangle, so it still feels like yesterday. Our humidity's low. Temperature is low. Walking the dog this morning will feel fantastic. But during the day today, the heat ramps up and the humidity pushes back in. We'll see highs in the low 90s, feeling like mid 90s. Tomorrow, we could see near record highs and some severe storms. I'll walk you through Friday. Coming up, Brian.
It is just about 6:15 now. We are tracking those construction-related delays on 40 eastbound in Garner, right around the Business 70 interchange. You can see that red showing up on the sensors there. It is getting better, though, as we take a look at the live data. A 7-minute delay showing up, leaving 440, heading out toward the 42 interchange. Out to Knightdale, this is I-87 southbound, looking good this morning, leaving 64 Business, heading back toward the 440 interchange. Jeff.
Got a wild one for you here, Brian. A man is facing charges this morning after crashing a truck into a swimming pool. Authorities say he landed there after a hit and run in Cary. Now, this was a wild incident that happened at a busy apartment complex yesterday evening around 6. We are told several people had just finished swimming moments before. Cary police say the driver jumped out of the truck and ran into a nearby pond trying to get away. He was eventually arrested, and officers say he was not hurt but was taken to the hospital to be treated for a mental health crisis.
A man is dead after a motorcycle crash in Durham. This happened just before 9:30 last night on North Roxborough Road. Police say the motorcycle and a vehicle crashed at the intersection with Rippling Stream Road. You can see that van suffered severe damage to its passenger side. No word on the condition of anyone who was in that van.
Donald Trump's former personal attorney, Rudy Giuliani, is out of jail this morning. $150,000 bond was posted. The former New York City mayor was fingerprinted and had his mugshot taken yesterday in Atlanta. He is one of several of Trump's co-defendants who have surrendered so far.
With the new school year kicking off, it's time to review the rules of the road when it comes to buses. This morning, Brian Schrader shows us what you can and can't do.
Let's start with a simple two-lane road. When the bus stops, all traffic from both directions must stop. Now let's add a center turn lane. Again, when that bus stops, all traffic from both directions must stop until the stop arm retracts. Here's a four-lane road without a median separation. This is another situation where all the traffic stops while that bus is stopped. Let's look at divided highways with a median separation. When the bus stops, only traffic following the bus must stop. It's a similar situation with a road that has 4 or more lanes and a center turn lane. When the bus stops, traffic following the bus must stop while the stop arm is out, but traffic on the other side can keep going. As always, slow down and pay attention. I'm Brian Schrader, WRAL News.
Certainly important this time of year, right? A new driverless car is cruising around Raleigh. General Motors is testing the technology for its all-electric taxi service, Cruise. The self-driving tech is learning about drivers' behavior as it collects data on city roads. Cars have been spotted in East Raleigh, downtown, North Hills. Cruise began testing the taxis in Charlotte earlier this month.
It is 6:17. We'll get back into the 90s later today, but this morning it feels rather nice. The humidity still on the low side and just beautiful views all around, Elizabeth.
If you're one of those people who likes to get out and walk, run, exercise, take the dog out in the morning, it's going to be lovely. But this afternoon, we start to feel more like the August that we have known so far. Looking beautiful in Goldsboro right now with mainly clear skies. We're seeing sunshine in Apex and Chapel Hill as the sun comes up, courtesy of Top of the Hill Restaurant. And of course, there's our Fayetteville newsroom there on Hay Street. Tomorrow, we have the potential for some severe storms, especially from the Triangle area northward. We take a look at the big picture here. We have a big high pressure system in the middle of the country, and that's going to help to push some heat our way for tomorrow. But riding along the top of this big high pressure system are a lot of different disturbances, and you can see one of these producing a lot of thunderstorms across Ohio. There were several severe storms there. We're going to see one of those dropping down into our northeastern counties for today, and another one tomorrow that could bring us some severe storms. This morning, we're all dry. Futurecast wants to show this as early as lunchtime, but it's likely to be fueled by our afternoon heating, so it's more likely from Goldsboro to Rocky Mount up toward Roanoke Rapids that we would see a few isolated cells pop up later this afternoon once we see some daytime heating. It's likely to be clear for us to start Friday. There's 7 a.m. We roll it to lunchtime. Plenty of time for the heat to build. We're looking at potential record highs for tomorrow, and then ending the day after sunset. Notice at 7 o'clock, the thunderstorms develop near the Virginia line. By 10 o'clock, moving through the Triangle area, and by midnight down into our southeastern counties. So that's going to be our best chance for severe storms. Our chance for rain ramps up. It's a 20% chance during the day Friday, but more of a 40 to 50% chance overnight. 30 Saturday, 40 Sunday, 50 Monday. So we're moving into a wetter pattern, which is good. Right now we have an almost 3-inch deficit for the summer for RDU, just about a ½ inch deficit for the summer in Fayetteville. It's been a lot more rain there, 13 inches versus 9 inches. More rain on the way, though, for the next 5 days, anywhere from about a ½ inch to an inch and a half of rain, especially in our southern counties. Let's check out Tropical Storm Franklin. Of course, we got the new forecast path from the National Hurricane Center just about an hour ago at 5 o'clock. Still looks like a Category 2 storm sitting off of our coast Monday into Tuesday. It's likely to cause high rip current danger for us here. And, of course, heavy surf as well. You can see the high rip current danger, not just for North Carolina, but all up and down the East Coast, and enough heavy surf along the Outer Banks to potentially cause some erosion and damage. This is a new system that the Hurricane Center is starting to watch with a 40% chance of developing in the next 7 days. But if it does develop, it could have some impacts for North Carolina. That's Franklin. This is the potential next system that could develop and push off the coast of North Carolina around the middle of the week next week. So So not all the models are in agreement on that, but that's something that we'll watch. They've been hinting at it for the last several days. 100 tomorrow. If we hit 100, that will break the previous record, but temperatures start to drop some over the weekend. As the temperatures drop, the chance of rain goes up. For the first day of school, the morning looks dry, Brian, but it could be wet for the afternoon, Brian.
We could use the rain for sure. It is now 6:21 as we take a look at traffic. We have a disabled vehicle over on 40 westbound around the US 1 interchange. Right now, not causing any problems, but look out for some police activity on the side of the road. Also still tracking this overnight construction delay on 40 eastbound, right around the Business 70 interchange there in the Garner area. Getting much better as we take a look at the latest update from those live sensors. A 3-minute delay showing up right now as you head through that area. We'll head out toward Durham, where traffic's moving along nicely on our major routes. All of those major approaches into the Bull City clear at this point, including 40 westbound from Wade Avenue to 885. No delays right now.
Thanks, Brian. Students at a high school in the Triangle will have a few more days of summer. We'll tell you why Northern High won't be open on time and how the school is working to adjust.
And comedian Kevin Hart is in a wheelchair this morning. The friendly challenge that turned into an injury. Coming up in What's Trending.
This What's Trending report, sponsored by Rug & Home.
Kevin Hart says he has new respect for his advancing age. He's 44 after trying to beat an athlete in a foot race.
Brian Schrader here now. What's trending on a Thursday, Brian?
He put out a video on Instagram showing the result of that race.
This is just a public service announcement because I know people may see me out, and I don't want you to be alarmed, but I'm in a wheelchair. Yeah. I'm in a wheelchair. Why? Well, because I tried to jump out there and do some young stuff. Try to go out there and do some young man stuff.
Yes, he found his limits there. 44-year-old Hart says he suffered from torn lower abdomen and abductor muscles when he tried to beat former NFL running back Stephen Ridley in the 40-yard dash. He says it's a sign that he's needing to slow down and act his age.
Well, also in that video, he says, ladies and gentlemen, the age 40 is real. To all my men, women out there that are 40 years old and above, it is not a game. So the public service announcement. Respect that age, or that age will make you respect it.
Elizabeth told me when I hit 40 that would begin the whole thing, and she was right. Now, she's not 40 yet, so I'm sure she heard about this stuff.
One day she'll experience.
Yeah, one day she'll experience.
I vaguely remember that.
Messi Magic is showing no signs of slowing down. The soccer superstar lit up social media yet again last night with an incredible assist on a late game-tying goal in the semifinals of the U.S. Open Cup. Miami came back to win and has now won all 8 games it has played since Messi joined the team.
Wow.
Do you think that's magic? It's pretty good stuff right there. And, of course, the league is taking notice, and fans around the league. Their next game is in New York. Tickets go on average $46 for every game up till this one. $483 on average now with Messi coming to town.
Some might say they're getting their money's worth on that.
They are. They're not complaining.
Brian, thanks. Check your calendar. Hockey season is almost here, and today you can get your tickets to see the Canes at PNC. They're going on sale at 10 this morning through Ticketmaster. The season opener is October 11th against Ottawa.
New results from a report on Durham parks that have lead in them say that at least 5 parks have dangerously high lead levels. Just ahead, the city's next steps on preventing exposure.
Yeah, I'll let y'all know how I feel when I turn 40. All right, serious stuff here, though. Tomorrow's going to be a crazy day. We can see triple-digit heat indices and a record high, plus a level 1 risk for severe storms. I'll walk you through what to expect during the day tomorrow.
And former President Donald Trump is expected to turn himself in today at the Fulton County Jail in Georgia, where you're looking live. What he had to say about his charges in an interview with Tucker Carlson as his 2024 opponents were on a debate stage in Milwaukee.